John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hey there, this is John Ulzheimer. I am a consumer credit expert. I've got over 30 years of experience in the credit industry. Spent time at FICO and Equifax. So today I'm going to talk about balance transfer cards. I get a lot of questions from consumers about balance transfer credit cards and whether or not they are a good idea. So what is a balance transfer credit card? A balance transfer credit card is a credit card that is marketed to consumers specifically using kind of the marketing angle. Hey, if you have expensive credit card debt, transfer your balance to this newly opened card and you'll save money. And so is that claim true or is that claim false? That claim is absolutely true, all right? A balance transfer credit card is actually a fantastic rewards card. Most of those cards come with a 0 interest grace period. So you could actually transfer interest accruing debt from one or more of your pre-existing cards to a newly opened balance transfer card that has a 0% APR. So what that means is it's going to be free money. You're not going to have to pay interest. Most balance transfer cards have a balance transfer fee, and that fee is 1 or 2%. It's a pretty small percentage amount, but if you have a whole lot of debt that you're transferring to the new card, then it can be a costly thing to do. However, if you compare the amount that you're paying to transfer the balance relative to the amount that you're saving because you're not going to pay interest, it actually could work in your favor. So you're going to want to run the numbers on that, do the math before you take advantage of the balance transfer offer. Here are a couple things that I want you to keep in mind and consider when you're kicking around the idea of opening a balance transfer card. Number one, it's going to serve a purpose, and you want it to serve the purpose, and you don't want to forget what the purpose is. The purpose is to use that card to move other balances to that card and then to pay off the debt and get out of credit card debt, right? So your ultimate goal is to have 0 credit card debt that rolls over from month to month, because then you don't have to worry about interest rates and APRs because there's no balance to apply an APR to. What you do not want to do is you don't want to make the mistake of transferring balances from pre-existing cards and then either closing those pre-existing cards, because I think if you've watched any videos about credit scores, you know that closing a bunch of credit cards can lead to lower scores. So you don't want to do that. You want to leave those cards open, but you don't want to get into debt twice over. So if you're going to leave those cards open, you don't want to continue to use them, because then you're going to be in twice the amount of debt and you may not be able to find another card. You may not be able to open another balance transfer card in the future, and so there's nowhere to roll your balance. So you've really just defeated the purpose of opening the balance transfer card if you just get into a bunch of debt again with your pre-existing cards. So that's another thing that you're going to want to consider. A third thing to consider, this is really important. People always talk about, the big print giveth and the small print taketh away. You're going to want to understand the fine print and the terms of the balance transfer card. Look for the term retroactive interest. And this is what retroactive interest is. Most of these balance transfer cards come with the grace period. The grace period is somewhere 6 months to a year and a half, depending on the card. They vary, and it should be very clear what the grace period is when you open the card. It's not going to be, a mystery. But you're going to want to look at the language about what happens when the grace period expires. If you still have debt on the card, are they going to charge you interest retroactive to the date that you opened the card? And if they are going to do that, that's fine, but you should have the balance paid off before that date. Because if you have the balance paid off, then there is no retroactive interest because there's no balance. But if you leave a balance, they may nail you for the interest going all the way back to when the card opened. Remember, that could be 6 months ago, that could be a year and a half ago. It could be a really expensive lesson to learn the hard way if you do end up having to pay retroactive interest. Balance transfer cards are for consumers who have better credit, right? I mean, if you have Vantage Score 550 or FICO 550, it's very unlikely you're going to be able to open one of these really, really good balance transfer cards. If you've got really solid credit reports and really solid credit scores, then you may be able to open one of those cards. And remember, use it for the purpose of getting yourself into free credit card debt so that you can make payments every single month and get them paid off to zero, not just to float for a few months and then get back into credit card debt over again. So hopefully that answers some questions about balance transfer cards. If you have any other questions about them, please drop them in the section below and I'll do my best to get to them. Have a great rest of your day.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.